Hey guys, what's up? It's been a long time since my last live, and I really wanted to get back at it, give some value, see how you guys doing, and I'm getting a lot of feedback usually for those, and it helps people. So why not? All right, so just to give an update, right? You guys know I'm working like what I do is primarily nutrition coaching. It is for weight loss, for muscle building, for changing eating habits, better sleep, removing inflammation, taking care of different kinds of condition that related to metabolic syndrome, high cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, prediabetes, fatty liver, you name it. Uh, I help with that, and it's very efficient. Hey, Daphna. And offer recently, I also provide in service anyone who has plastic surgeries and things like that, which is very common. I provide pre operation and post op nutrition consultation advice. My clients who are in my care as a coach and a nutritionist, they get it by default, and I do provide consultations regardless. All right, so let's talk about the topic of what I wanted to talk today about, and that is hunger, right? And of course, weight loss. So many people are afraid to start even weight loss interventions because they are afraid to be hungry, and that's really important to think about that that little thing that might not sound little, but it is, prevents them from getting healthier, losing weight, looking better, doing many things, which, right, like it's very important to them, but they're afraid. And well, fear is a big thing for people. People afraid of different things. People afraid of rejection. People afraid of failure. People afraid of hunger. And many times people don't do things that are very important to them, that will be very helpful for them, just because they are afraid. And you know, like with kids and fears, everyone who has kids know, kids sometimes afraid of things that are ridiculous to us. So it's very true for grown-ups as well. We typically afraid of things that are really ridiculous, that are not going to happen, that are pointless, and like even if they happen, so what, right? Like nothing ever happened with the like nothing horrible. So people want to lose weight, people want to get better, and they know that now they potentially, right, like if I'm going to lose weight, I need to eat less. So I automatically will be afraid of hunger, and you know, there's a good reason for this. Why? Because we all know people overeat terribly, people are overweight, people are obese, and they're still hungry, meaning they eat maybe thousands of calories, they carry thousands of calories on their body, and they're still hungry. So no matter how much they eat, they still get hungry in the end. And here I am saying, hey, don't be afraid of that. So where's the reason of that? And there is very good explanations about why we are still hungry even if we overeat. But think, like, bear with me for a second. It also means if you're hungry anyway, you can eat less. At the worst case, you will still be hungry, right? Nothing will change. So that fear is kind of unfounded. No point. There's no reason for that because it's totally normal. Now let's talk about the reasons why we are hungry in the first place. Why we go, and I'm not saying like why do we overeat, because we overeat for multiple reasons that have nothing to do with hunger, right? Because our habits, because we see things, because we used to, because it's there, because we are bored, because why not, right? But when we actually are hungry, it comes from multiple angles, right? So what essentially can cause hunger? For most people that are alive, right? It is what we eat and how much. Uh, And basically, what makes us full, what makes us not hungry, is the times of how much we chew. It's the time that it takes for the stomach to process the food, and it also the time for the stomach to empty itself, right? In addition, it's the volume of food, it's how long you chew it, how large it looks on your plate, how voluminous that food is. And basically, that means that the more your food is processed, the less filling it will be, and the more hungry you will be as a result of eating that. And I can go for a very, very simple example of something that is healthy, relatively, right? Meat. If I take a steak of 8 ounce and I will eat that steak, and I'm not talking about some like kind of huge meal, I'm talking about average person, the steak will be, a lot of chewing, time to eat. You're not swallowing the steak in a second. So basically, it will fill you. If you take same amount of meat, if you take literally the same steak, made a hamburger like burger out of it, right? Same, you make essentially a burger patty out of the same meat. If you eat that patty, you will not be filled. You will not be satisfied. It will be way less to chew. It will be processed way faster by your stomach. You will be way hungrier, or maybe hungry versus not hungry at all with that burger, because now it's very easy to chew. It's very fast to process. It loses a lot of nutrients that you need in the process. So you can easily see how food processing makes it less filling or satiety, right? So one thing to do when we switching to weight loss mode is to dump all the processed food. Everything that is made from flour or processed and things like that, reduce the amount. The more whole our food is, the fuller we will be, the less hunger there will be. That's number one. Second thing is sugar. And the truth is, the more sugar you have, the hungrier you will be, because simply the more carbohydrate is in your bloodstream, the more it triggers hunger. And that means, again, in addition to processed food, we tend to eat foods that are yummier. Yummier means usually sweeter. The more of a sweet we eat, the more of a sweet we want, the hungrier we get as well. So, if we remove or reduce the sweetness, if we remove the carbs, if we lower the amount of what we eat in terms of carbohydrate, we will be less hungry. And this is why ketogenic or low carb diets are so efficient, not because they're magical, not because they cause some kind of boom, I'm losing weight, not at all. It happens because the moment you reduce sugar to the levels that the protocol requires, you're just way less hungry. You're way more full. You don't want to eat as much. And guess what? What happens? You eat less and you lose weight. Nothing. It's not because the diet is magical. It's not because ketosis is magical. Nothing like that. Okay. So now, going back to that steak and burger, if I have that steak and make it into the burger, and I add a bun, right? So I'm making it bigger thing. In general, it will make that steak that became a burger even less satiating, because now I'm not just processing the meat, I'm adding sugar to it. So now, instead of processing that steak in the stomach for 3, 4, 5 hours and being full half a day, I'm going to eat that burger very fast. It will be, because it's all processed, it will leave my stomach in an hour. And also I'm adding sugar, so now that burger will make me hungry. Instead of making me satiated, it will cause the hunger by the fact that I actually had it. Okay? So those two things will make us hungrier. Number three, protein. Absolutely, most people are deficient in protein. Protein is one of the most satiating macronutrients. Uh, I would say that out of 100 patients or clients that come to me and I review their diet, one will be eating enough protein. 99 will not be. I can predict with very, very high precision that if a client comes to me, they are low on protein, and that means they will be hungrier and less full as well, because protein is most filling macronutrient. Low amounts of protein in our bloodstream and our body cause hunger as well. So now we don't eat enough protein because it's more expensive, because it's less yummy, because it's not exciting, because it's not as tasty and things like that. Um, like no one is overdosing on fish or seafood. No one does. Like, did you see a person who overdose on tuna? It doesn't happen. Uh, or lean steak, right? Like even if we go for a lot of meat, it's usually fatty, so we get a lot of fat and calories with that, and it's easier to eat. So now we have third reason why we are hungry when we are even overeating, and when people diet down, what do? They reduce the protein even more. So now typically you get even hungrier because you're under eating protein. Reason number four to be hungry in general and when you're trying to lose weight is lack of nutrients, right? We all require several things to exist, and those are not calories. The energy is very, very, very not even secondary, because we have a ton of energy on us even if we're skinny. We have supply of energy for months to stay without food. What we do not have enough is nutrients like vitamins and minerals that we can't make and we can't store. So if we don't consume them, guess what? Our body will tell us again, you are hungry, because if you don't have those vital minerals and nutrients that are essential to our existence, because we need them for sure, right? It's not optional, but we don't make them. So if we don't get them with food, hi Jenna, we're basically destroying ourselves. And the only way for our body, our brain, whatever the system to tell us, hey, you are lacking, for example, sodium or magnesium or any type of mineral, right? Calcium, whatever it is, or vitamin A or vitamin B or whatever it is, it's to make you hungry. Now, because evolutionary crappy food wasn't available, and if people would be eating something in the bushes, they would be eating normal food, they would be totally fine, right? But now, in our age, in our society, because of the culture, because of how we evolved, because of the availability of food, if you're hungry, for whatever reason, you typically would opt for crappy, garbage processed food, which is completely depleted of nutrients. So now, again, we have a loop, and our body tells us, hey, you are not full enough, you lack your nutrients, you lack your protein, and what do? You go and have more crap. Hi, Yoel. What's up? And it causes the loop. So we essentially being overnutritioned, but we are malnutritioned because we add in thousands of calories that we don't need, we have nothing to do with, and we will just keep on gaining weight, get more sick, but we are not eating enough of what we need in terms of nutrients and protein and voluminous of food. All those things, when people try to diet down without any kind of, like, oh, I'll just go on ketogenic diet, or I will just eat less, or I will just not eat blah, 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 or I will just eat potatoes. It doesn't really matter. What happens then is people just, who were already malnutritioned, now they're even more malnutritioned because they eat less. So automatically they have less protein, less nutrients, and they're getting worse. So yes, if you go and do typical diet thing, you're hungry. If you do ketogenic diet, you're less hungry, but you will still be hungry when you're depleted. Now, and by the way, yes, like this is all kind of explanation of why you're getting hungry. But now let's understand how not to get hungry when you are losing weight. If you consume enough protein. If you consume food that has nutrients, right, like that your nutrition profiles have enough of all vitamins, you're not lacking anything. If if you have food that is not processed, that is mostly right, and again, I can say uh, to all people, hey, you can't touch processed food. It's crap, of course you can, but depends on how much of your diet consists of processed food, how much of it is like, bread and cookies and things like that, or even hamburgers and processed meat versus normal food that is not processed, that will be way more satiety. And this is third reason, like processed food, in addition to protein and nutrients. Now, the fourth thing is sugar. The less sugar you have, the less hungry you will be. And when you cut the consumption of sweet things or carbohydrate, you automatically get less hungry, even if you don't reduce your caloric intake. So all those four things, not five, right? But probably there is a fifth one somewhere too, will make you not hungry or less hungry when you're losing weight. You will be less hungry or not hungry at all, even that you eat maybe half of what you were eating before. Because it's not the calories. You don't respond to caloric intake or lack of it, to be exact, later on, with hunger. Because you have enough calories. It's never hunger, right? Yes, some people are not metabolically flexible. So when the sugar supply is stopped in the bloodstream, they might be hungry for a short period of time, but then they will get access to to fat storage, and they will keep on, eating well and being getting the energy. But if you keep on eating sugar, that cannot happen. So now, what do I do with my clients? How do I make sure that my clients are not hungry when they're losing weight? It's very simple. We know, based on studies, based on your data, based on your blood work, based on your body composition, based on your age and your sex, how much of each macronutrient you need to have. So you will get exact amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrate for your goal, not based on some general woo-woo thing, eat this much, but based on who you are, which makes sure that you're not hungry. That's one thing. We are making sure that you are not lacking any micronutrients, any vitamins, because we build the menu for you based on not just, oh, it's going to be this amount of blah, blah, blah. It will make sure that the foods that you eat have the nutrients that you need. And again, that is also general requirements, which are not FDA blah blah blah, because all of that thing is like 50 years old and irrelevant, and is based on recommendations when people were 30 pounds less on the average. But it's based on you, it's based on research, and it's based on your blood work and based on where you are. Because guess what? If you are specifically lacking certain nutrients, you cannot go by any recommendations that are general, because you specifically are very low on something, maybe because this is how you lived your life and you're, depleted, or maybe you genetically cannot, store enough of that and you need more. So we're looking at all of those things to make sure that you are well fed, you're eating enough, and this way it's very, very easy not to be hungry, and it's sometimes very hard to eat even enough, even when you are losing weight. And I have, typical client conversation on the first meeting. Hey, this is what you gave me. I'm going to starve. In a week or even 3 days, I hear, hey, can I please eat less? I can't eat that much. Even though it might be half of the calories person was eating before, or even less, right? And now we have very sustainable, effective, healthy weight loss that you would not get otherwise if you just go and try just eat less in general, or go follow some specific protocol where you not tracking what you need, right? And this is, where functional medicine is way more progressive than traditional medicine, because it's about you, it's about what you need, it's about what you lack. It's about how to solve the problem and not how to shut the problem up. It's, it's like understanding where the pain is coming from and solving the source of it, and not giving you Tylenol. It's not about making people suffer to lose weight. It's about doing it very sustainable and changing their lifestyle. And by the way, the hunger is one of the hugest reasons or biggest reasons, right? Like why people can sustain weight loss, because they get hungry and they just drop it, right? If you are losing weight and you are not hungry, or you got to the point of this is the weight I want, this is where I want to be, and I'm not hungry, it's very hard, easy to sustain it. So that was kind of short explanation of why people get hungry, and I hope that helped someone. If one person benefited from that, I'm already very, very happy, and it wasn't for nothing. And if you have any questions, you can always ask. You can ask in comments. You can send me a message. You can send me an email, whatever you need. And I just wanted to know, to update you guys that I am changing my structure on my coaching, and it will be way more economical from this point. We have some kind of things that are more automated, so don't need to repeat every single thing to you, and this is why I can now reduce pricing of what I'm doing pretty much pretty strong. So if you need any nutritional help, if you need help with losing weight, improving your blood work, getting better, getting your energy levels up, if you need any advice of pre-op or post-op nutrition, you know where to find me. You can text me, email me, message me, comment. I'm always there. Thank you so much, guys, and have an amazing day.